I think the one-on-one attention that we got during Hershey from the guides, from like the close-knit community, that like it promoted us to decide what we want to become in the time we were there. Like, for instance, working like on the farm or working in the wood shop, or just doing different projects. You practice with different skill sets you were picking up along the way, and that kind of helped you decide what you wanted to be. Like in contrast to like a traditional like public schools per se, like in the area, that's more, filling out paperwork, filling out tests, like working like in a confined, trying to think of the word, being working on tests and other things like that, a conformity, I'd say, that all students are following in a public school. Like Hershey allowed us to have some individualism and focus on ourselves, I'd say.
I definitely did look at other schools because I was pretty nervous about going into a STEM major and not having like the pure chemistry classes that we did at Hershey. So I looked at different schools in the area, and it came down to when I went to visit them, I didn't feel, I guess, that love of learning that everyone has brought up. Everyone just felt like they were there to get the grade and then to graduate. And I really did enjoy going to school. So I wanted to enjoy where I went to school. And my worries were kind of quelled a little bit because we could take our college credit classes. So I was able to take a pure chemistry 1 class at Lake Erie College, as well as a pre-calculus class, a biology class. So I was able to keep my love of learning as well as my independence that I had at Hershey. But then I could also supplement with extra things. So there really was no worry for me going into my STEM major.
I think we like visited the same schools when we were looking, and it was really just like came down to the culture there. Nobody seemed happy to be there, and I think both of us like were shadowing students that were in like honors and AP classes, and there was just nobody seemed interested in what was going on, and just yeah, not happy to be there, not enjoying school. So that was something that I wasn't really wanting to give up, and all of the like soft skill learning that Hershey offered us that were important for a college application were other reasons that I decided to stay, like the leadership that I touched on before. So just kind of like the unique qualities of Hershey paired with that like learning emphasized culture were the reasons that I decided to stay.
I think one of the big factors for me with staying with Hershey was how like close knit the community is, and it's hard to know that like going into it, especially if it's like a new school for you, because then it could kind of feel like any other school. But for coming from me, like being at Hershey, I've really found like the people that I connected with, like in terms of like friends and even a lot of the staff members. And so just finding that community and knowing the kind of people you want to be with and the kind of person you want to be with them, I think is really important. And that is something, at least for me, that has definitely translated into college. I don't know if I would be as secure in like the kind of people that I want to associate with if I had just gone to any other school for high school and just kind of fallen in with whoever was available. Whereas with you actually made like genuine connections with people, not just based on proximity, but also based on just like what you value and what they value. And so that was really important, especially coming to college, because it can be really overwhelming with the sheer number of people that just are around all the time, like in your dorm, in your classes, if you have a job, like there's just so many people. And so just being able to know what you're looking for in a friend or a partner or whatever is really, really important. And that's one of the big reasons why Hershey, I think, helped it with that.
So I did 7, 8, 9, and 10 at Hershey. And I ended up leaving at the end of year 10 just because I was in the pilot class that went through, and I really wanted to go to university in Australia. And at that stage, so early on, we weren't exactly sure how that might work. And I think me and my parents both, just because we were unsure about it, we wanted to make sure that I would be able to graduate in Australia and go to university in Australia. So that is why I picked to go home to another boarding school in Queensland for year 11 and 12. And that was an all-girls boarding school. It was an Anglican boarding school. And I wasn't particularly religious. And the idea of going to an all-girls school really scared me, to be honest, because I was so used to the co-ed community at Hershey. I was so used to the freedom and the kind of like relationship that we had with our guides there, and how the community worked. But I think it taught me a lot about adaptability, and the fact that I wasn't going to be only able to function in a Montessori community, because Montessori really taught me how to be my own person and kind of like translate my skills and how I like to learn and all that kind of stuff to any sort of environment. So I was really lucky in that I had quite an easy time adjusting to the other school. I, of course, really missed Hershey as well, though. And kind of like the support that you had in terms of people with learning difficulties, how that was supported at Hershey, and how just the relationship with the teachers that we had, or the guides, sorry, was really nice to have at Hershey. But I did also have an amazing time at my high school, but I do credit that to my experience at Hershey. I don't think I would have had the same experience if I hadn't had those 4 years in Ohio.